Wonderful, Andriy. Great to have you here again.
Yeah,
This is our September recording, no, October recording, and we're talking about September release today, right?
exactly. We've made again lots of AI things, but not only this time. And yes, we try to work on different areas of the tool.
Do you want to tell us what we're talking about today?
Yes, sure. Thanks. Um, you will find full list on the blog because there are many more things that were added. Today I picked up few main topics that we can quickly touch on. It's about fine-tuning. We talked about fine-tuning, of course, but we did more improvements here. Then second one will be for AI automation. We've built a tool that allows you to automate many processes, like automate tasks creation or do some replacements on output. So I will show you what's the idea behind it. I have a list here. Pre-translation quiz. Now it's possible not to run pre-translations one after another. So earlier you had to wait before the previous one is finished. Now you can do that. You can schedule multiple pre-translations using different tools. Also, possibility for translators to submit draft translations for Glossary.
I love this one. This will be very interesting. So definitely stay in the video because this is one of the things I think for most of the projects using Crowdin will be super, super useful.
We also have in the list for AI matches earlier. Yes, we for quite a long time we allow users to apply AI translations, but earlier it was a challenge actually to find out how many AI matches did you actually use. Now it's easy because AI matches are the part of the report. So we will also try to generate something to get some numbers. And
wow, this is cool. So not only machine translation, but also AI reports. Very cool.
So it should be very good improvement for reporting because definitely AI becomes a real part of translation process. So we cannot skip it and ignore it. We just have to live with it. And finally, small improvement for AI assistant in the editor that you can try after you submit all translations, probably do some post editing of AI translations. Then it will be possible to on the same page you can use AI to translate your translations back to original source language, and this way you can compare how good your translations are in terms of quality, whether they translations produced, let's say, from German to English match with your actual English text.
Absolutely. This is back translation, automatic back translation. Everybody in my life as a localization manager and leader of Beluga, we had so many clients who struggles with the same thing like everybody. Yeah, that you have a translation, but maybe you have or you do not have stuff internally to verify if this is good or bad. And just to understand what is the translation, they ask for back translations. Now this feature, I'm really excited about to learn more about it. So there's a lot in the list, Andriy. I think let's go into it, and we start with the fine-tuning, right?
Now, what we have under AI, when we go to fine-tuning section, that's where we allow you to create jobs. Now we have improved UI here, so you can see all previously triggered jobs. And there are some, that's actually also an improvement because earlier it was not that easy to get that information. But now we can see that I tried to do something, I failed, and here it tells me that my key has actually expired. So at least now we understand the reason why fine-tuning was not successful. And when we click create button here, what is new, what was added is that after we select the prompt, we can choose, like it was previous time, we can select projects. So then during fine-tuning, it will collect all these approved translations and they will be considered when new model is generated. But now you can also build your model based on your translation memories. And what is good that you can include multiple TMs if needed. Actually, you can even, if you wish to train your model based on your TMs only and you don't want to do anything with the project, despite I think it's recommended to use at least one for a reference. And that's it. So then you click start fine tuning and you're good to go. So we will, because of this second improvement that we did, there will be a new entry created that will explain you complete process. What was happening, there will be some statistics included. So that should be really, without big knowledge, you can do fine tuning easily.
Yeah, this
Anyone
is
can do
wonderful.
fine tuning now.
This is absolutely amazing because before, fine-tuning was really a headache. The way you, as a localization manager, had to put everything together was complicated. And it was nothing you do just by, just on the sidebar. You had to go, normally there was some specialists out there in the market. And basically what you're doing is giving us the power to do it ourselves.
Yeah, it made it, finally this page looks very user-friendly. So anyone can now create their own models, get better results from AI as a final result. The second thing also about AI that I wanted to mention, it's about this AI Automator thing. AI Automator.
Automate your daily task with AI. A wonderful.
Oh, what did I type?
Headline.
Yeah, so we have it here.
Experimental. Let me know. Let me ask you what do you guys understand under experimental? What shall we expect from something that is experimental?
That, first of all, that it may be not stable, I would say, because here we allow AI. For you and as end user, it should look very simple. Idea is the following, that you can specify the condition, what should happen when you, for example, upload a file. And let's say one use case, and we already provide you a template for this, is that AI Automator will create a task automatically. It's actually another agent that we implemented. In previous discussion, we talked about AI proofreader. Now we have Automator agent in place, and you tell what you want to do, and it will do the task. I should have a live example here under AI Automator.
We installed the app. We find it in tools on the project menu again. Okay.
AI Automator.
And then we go into the app in order to configure.
Yes. And then we will see an empty list. Initially, we will offer you to create a new automation, and there will be initially you will see a button. I can probably replicate this by deleting existing prompts. Those are actually not prompts, those are examples. So we allow you to create automation from scratch or use samples. And here we prepared few working samples that allow you to create tasks automatically. Idea is that when you update some file in Crowdin or you create a new file in the project, then this tool will automatically create a task. Here, if we click edit, we will see how exactly it is configured. At the top, we specify to what events it should react, and in our case, it will react to event of new file, updated file, or when you cancel updates, we allow you also to revert revisions. So it will react to all these three. Here, we specify the condition, what should happen, and we specify that when there is a new content, you need to assign the task with username entry. But of course, you can expand this code. You can specify that if language is German, then user with the following username should be assigned. I also got idea, which I did not evaluate yet, is that it's quite frequent case that you may have 5 translators assigned to the same language. And one day you want this person to get a task, another day it should be someone else. So I think it will be pretty possible to randomly assign the task to different users. Because as the final result, what you get after you type this command it creates actually this complex script that will be running on the server side. And when you upload a file, this script that will use API, it will be running on the server. And as a result, for example, for this task, the final result that we will get is that it will generate a task for us. We upload a file, new task will be created. I also tested today. I deleted that sample, unfortunately, but my idea was that when I upload the file...
This is live.
Exactly. Yeah, I deleted it too fast, sorry. But idea was that I upload the file. If we open this one, this is the original one. We have welcome here. And I created a rule for Automator that I specified. I want all welcome to be replaced with hello. And it did it for me. After I uploaded the file, originally it was welcome, but after that, within 2 minutes, the file was automatically updated. Here we can see a new revision was created in 2 minutes, and I actually got hello. So I think, of course, yes, you usually won't need to replace words, but what about HTML tags? Let's say you have some very complex HTML entities in your texts, and you want them to look to your translators as regular HTML tags. You don't want to make it too complicated. Right. I think it will be very easy to handle that. You can automatically on import, you can replace entities with readable tags or some Unicode items with readable characters.
Got you. One question about the prompt. How do you suggest to create these prompts? What do I need to know to create this prompt? Do I just write what I want to do, or is it then AI that understands me better and put my words into correct language and code? What's happening behind the scenes here?
Yes, let's make a live sample. It has HTML entities inside. I want them to be replaced with regular HTML tags. After I click generate code, what happens? We are sending AI this preference that we have. It will analyze our request, and AI is used here mainly for this purpose, to generate this JavaScript that we can see on the right. So that if you feel strong enough to develop this code yourself and you know Crowdin API well, of course, you don't even have to generate the code. You can just adjust the existing code. But I truly hope that, yes.
For most of localization project managers, I would say, no coding experience at all. So these kind of translation is super useful.
Yes, and with minimum efforts, because it already knows Crowdin API well. It knows how to use it. And here we can see that it generates some new code. And after I click save, it should ideally work. And commonly, I hope that you all will experience the same like I did, that it will work on the first attempt, that you won't need to regenerate the code.
Wonderful. Okay, understood. So we're here to experience this and try it out and leave comments if this is working, it's not working. Wonderful. Great thing.
Definitely.
Excellent.
Probably, final thing about this tool that is also mentioned on the store, that it has limitations. You can currently have up to 50 automations, and you can generate up to 1,000 of requests per day. It's free for you. You don't have to pay anything for using it, but currently that's what we have in place for this app. But I believe that even for huge organizations, this limit is very loyal, so you won't feel any limitation. Actually, you will just configure it once, and it will work.
50 is a lot. Huh? If you can automate 50 tasks, that is OKR. Good. In terms of timing, let's move on. On our list. There's a lot still missing.
Pre-translation quiz. So now it's really possible finally to run several pre-translations. You don't have to wait till the previous one is finished. What I mean is that when I click let's say I want to translate something with AI. I select.
A big fan, by the way, of AI pre-translation. Love it. And we did
Sure,
a lot of pre-translation in our course. So in our Crowdin special course, we did with Beluga. And I think the AI pre-translation and all this stuff around it, it's amazing. And it's a huge step forward in terms of efficiency. So
it's really
let us know what cues are.
So for queues, earlier you had to wait always. And imagine that you triggered pre-translation for a huge document, 50,000 words inside. It may take an hour or so to fully translate it. Probably a bit less, but even this minute, you don't want to wait. You want to, because you know that you also need to handle a few other languages after that. Earlier, you had to recheck Crowdin from time to time and only then run the next pre-translation. Now you don't have to wait. You just fire first pre-translation, then without waiting, you can also do this via API. Then it will be even more impressive because you can have like 50 scheduled pre-translations. From UI, it will look like this. You just go here, you select another file. Probably if you use DM or AI, you will use some different model. So you can configure it as you wish. And then everything is displayed now here. So we have a separate section where you can see all triggered pre-translations. And I would say it's also new that now you can see a report. Earlier, you could only see it after pre-translation is finished and you are on the page, then you could see how many words were translated. But now, even let's say you launched it in the morning and you want to see in the evening what was happening, you can open it and see. So you have the access to statistics.
That is super helpful. Yeah, because these, sometimes it happens that something doesn't work out. And I think, and then you see the report, then you see, it's skip translation, or all translation were skipped. So, I have to go back to do everything. I think the use case, if I get it right, is if we have different prompts, for example, for different languages. We discussed this in another discussion. So you have different prompts for different languages because you want to bear in mind local tone and voice and grammar, localization stuff for each language. So what we did in our projects were creating different prompts for certain languages. So what you say now is we have 15 languages, and let's say we use 15 different prompts. So we would assign them, we would run the AI translation, we would go to the next, we would go to the next, run the 15 prompts, and we don't have to wait till number 1 is finished to start with number 2. We can do it all at the same time, right?
Yes. Actually, they will be triggered still one after another, because if we fire all of them at the same time, we will most likely exceed the rate limit on AI provider side. It will tell us why you're sending us so much of data.
But I can go to grab a coffee. I can trigger everything and then go away, have lunch, and come back and see it happen, right?
Yes, exactly. And it will be working. And you can be sure that you don't have to keep browser opened because it is running on the server side.
In the backend.
And you just visit Crowdin later and you can also see what was done.
Wonderful. Cool feature. Love it. Very nice.
We can jump now to drafts for glossary terms translation. So earlier, on the settings in privacy of the project, there was only an option, allow translators to submit translations to the glossary, or you could restrict it. By default, it was restricted, but you could enable it. But there is always some risk that, especially in crowdsourced projects, or not even crowdsourced, but you have many translators and they are very active. Everyone wants to help. Right. They have an idea how to what terms should be added to the glossary. But yes, it still feels a bit risky to allow everyone to do that right away. Of course, managers can still upload and add glossary terms at any time. They have permission to do that. But now we have added new mode for drafts. So when this one is on, then translators will still have the access to, in the editor, translators can add new glossary term as easy as they just select the word for which they want to create a term. They click create term, they can explain, add description, they can insert suggested translation in German, and this translation will be saved, but it will be saved as a draft. It won't be shown immediately. Only after any manager of the project will confirm that this glossary term is valid. Only then it will be used in a real translation. It will be shown to others. It will be used by AI if it's not a draft. And you as a manager, you can filter all these drafts here. You will see a note. If there is a draft, it will be marked as this. And after you confirm that it's actually valid translation, you can change the status. It will be possible to do this massively. But yes, if I remove the draft, now, yes, the state has changed.
Love it. Give me some examples of the workflow. Let's say we are on a crowd translation project. Okay, it's a big one, 50 languages or whatever. Everybody's typing in, and we want to create this glossary together, right? So many translators, like 5 translators per language and 1 language lead. How do they? Can the language lead be the one who approves the drafted terms at this stage?
At the moment, it can be done by managers only, I believe, because they have the access to glossaries. By language lead, you mean language coordinator role?
Yeah, let's say, somebody from my inside team will review all the draft translation and all the glossary drafts, or additions from the team. Now, if we go to terminology, that is serious business to talk terminology. So not every term is a term for a glossary. And sometimes we don't want to have a huge glossary with hundreds or thousands of terms, but reduce it and keep the quality high. So let's assume somebody is there to control. And if I'm the manager, for Chinese, for example, how do I control that the Chinese drafts are good or bad? Is there any voting happening, or is there any tool for the users, for me as a manager, to say, okay, this term is a term and I like it, or I take another one?
If you want to go this further, I think the translate glossary application will be helpful. So instead of the option that we discussed, it allows to create drafts for chosen terms, so users can suggest some draft translations. But you may also make use of translate glossary application that will allow you to upload your glossary as TBX
like a file.
Yes. And then you can translate it as other files.
What we could do here to solve this is can we download the draft translations of the glossary?
You can, of course.
Okay, so and then I would upload it in a different project in this case, and run the translate glossary terms project, right?
Yes, you can then review, approve. Probably during this review, you will fix some translations, you will fix some drafts. You can apply some QA checks as well against these translations to see if they are helpful indeed. And then as a final, this application will also allow you to import your edits back to the glossary. So this app solves 2 things, import and export. It can be used for both.
TBX file, right? What you get out.
It works with both. We allow you to select whether TBX or CSV will be used, but definitely TBX is better option because it has more these custom fields and everything. So I suggest if you decide to use the app, it's a good idea to use exactly TBX format.
Wonderful. I love it. The glossary stuff terminology is it's a very important thing for many brands. It's for brands, it's for projects, for software. There are lots of small items, product names, and to control the inputs and the outputs and to control the whole process is super important. I think in general, many projects are lacking a good terminologist behind.
Definitely. Yeah, unfortunately.
And this feels like, something that really needs to be improved on the LSP side, but also on the client side, the consciousness about terminology and how to deal with it in a serious way. So wonderful, great, nice. What else? What else do we have in the list?
We do have a reporting in the list. So it's on the reports. When we go to reports, earlier that was really a challenge to discover how many words you translated using AI exactly. When we go to translation cost, there was only TM match, MT match, and other translations categories. Now, when you generate a report, so let's say we can input some rates here. We will charge 8 cents per word, and for proofreading, it will be like a half, for example. After that, we can also specify how much we will pay if translator used a translation that was generated by AI. So if, let's say, if they completely used it without any changes, we will pay 30% from the full price.
Because it's like a proofreading, right? You have to dedicate some time in order to read the whole sentence and then apply, your knowledge.
Yes, you still need.
Sometimes a little bit forgotten, that if you want somebody to read something and to make a judgment, this is a quality judgment, and the translators are qualified professionals. So I think this is very important. AI translation, yeah, it sounds very good, but we all know that the translation, it's even sometimes more difficult to review an AI translation because it's flawless. It sounds and reads perfect, but it's wrong.
Yes, because of you provided probably not that much context to AI, so it produced translations, but they still need to be validated, of course.
Exactly.
A human. And that's it. So when we generate the report, now we just get this new category. Because earlier it already works this way for several months, I think, that when you work on translations and here AI suggested some translation, then when you just use it without any changes, there will be this icon here which indicates that this is translation made by AI and submitted without any changes by this user. And we had this data, but there was no separate section for AI match. And finally, yes, because AI becomes really
a game changer. I mean, it's
exactly,
everywhere.
and it's used by so many teams right now. So yes, we now have that in the report. And since we are in the editor, we can also quickly test the thing that I mentioned about back translation.
It's also in the editor. I didn't know this one, but that's good.
It will be a part of AI Assistant. You can also have a shortcut for it. If you go to settings of AI Assistant, here we already have 3 default shortcuts.
With a small plus sign you showed us the other day.
Yeah, back translation. And here prompt, I always, because it works better if we add please at the beginning. Please.
You are of those who like to treat well the AI, right?
Well, yeah, I don't know. Probably it's my luck, but usually when I start my code request prompt with please, it gives me better results. And unfortunately, yes, my please didn't work this time. Sorry, I missed something, I believe, but something should fail, of course. So it decided this time to use my English text actually instead of German. But I tried it earlier and it worked fine for me. I hope that will also work fine for others. So please leave your comments. How does it work for you? Even please try without please, probably this AI.
And offer a beer, maybe come to drink a beer with me this afternoon. No, but this back translation, I think it was not only in the editor, but outside the editor as well, right?
Outside of the editor, I'm not even sure how can you do back translation. You need to translate current German to English. I will make now without any. Please, we will type. Oh, still it. Yeah, it used source language. There must be something small that I missed. In the editor, it will work fine, and you can do quite many things with this AI assistant in the editor, because it provides you this like a spreadsheet. You can use them one by one, or you can, if you are happy with old produced translations, because you may want it to use it just to generate new translations. If you are happy with everything, you can just click save all and it will do this. And these shortcuts will also make it easy to use, so you can prepare, depending on how you use it, you can have your own shortcuts here, and use it to generate shorter translation for selected phrase.
It is useful, especially for a whole file where we can see, okay, this is the original, this is the back translation, and you get a sense of where is it going. It's like Google Translate in the early days, for messages or something like that. You translate the whole website, and you say, okay, it's I don't even need to have it perfect, but I want to understand in which direction did the translation go. So, and this is super useful. And I think for many projects, this could be very useful, this feature.
Yeah, and if you really want to get even separate files, you can have just 2 projects in the tool. You can have one project English to German, do German using AI, then take these German translations and use them as sources in another project that will be translated from German to English, and then you can compare results.
Absolutely. No, very good. If you see this, leave your comment below and tell us how you use back translation in your project. What's up? We had the AI match category in reports. We have major update of Crowdin help docs. This was one of the points you had on your long list as well.
Exactly. Yes. So
what happened there?
Earlier, it was very difficult to find something in knowledge base, and nowadays it's even more difficult.
For me, nowadays it's even more difficult.
It's just, for me, it was my first impression, because I didn't know well how to use it, to be honest. Yeah, because I got used to this old, you know how it is. When you get used to something, you already know even these URLs. You keep them in memory, so you don't even need to search. You just put / and you search. Now because there is Crowdin, there is Crowdin Enterprise. Now we have Crowdin is very open to third-party developers. You can develop your own Crowdin application. We have extended API for Crowdin Enterprise. Now all these categories, earlier you had to open separate Crowdin.com to visit Crowdin knowledge base, but developer Crowdin.com to visit developer portal. Now they are all in the same place. So under the same separate Crowdin.com, you have the access to all these categories. There is also a link, but it sends you to separate storecrowdin.com site where you can see applications. But actually, I like it now a lot after giving it a try for 2-3 days. I realized that actually it's much more beneficial. Everything is grouped better here. I cannot even imagine how much time colleagues spend on recapturing.
I was just thinking about it. Help centers are such a big mess, and so much content, and reorganizing that must have been, a good project for a couple of weeks at least to get this reorganized. So yeah.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
and we've used many new technologies here. It's opening much faster. Well, with nowadays internet, yeah, you always, when you open something, it always opens very fast. But there are some additional technical aspects that we did some analysis. So now current knowledge base, it works much faster and it's
Wonderful.
easier to find something useful. You just put some some keywords and it will point you to direct place where you can read more about this or that feature. And
We are
hope
using
users will find it useful.
the Crowdin help center all the time, especially for us, for documentation about how does it really works. You have two things. You have the Crowdin Docs, which is support center, and you have these great videos as well. I mean, we're doing a live video of all this. This is like a jam session of what's new and so on. But you have your colleague recording every week or every month these wonderful videos on YouTube as well. You can find them on YouTube about specific new stuff, new features of the interface. Great how-to videos. She's always great to see. A big fan. If you listen to me, I'm a big fan of your videos. Our team is a big fan of your videos. So yeah, this is just awesome. Yeah, you see it here in the App Store.
Yeah,
we have all these videos
app
in the App Store, exactly, and then you can watch them on YouTube. And it's really good. It's very helpful, and a good, well-designed support center is key for many. So great addition. Andriy, we're almost done, I think, with this. There's much more, but
yes, thanks everyone for watching. I hope you will see indeed something useful and interesting in these videos. And meantime, Crowdin team will keep working on new features. We have no, I won't tell you.
Surprise!
Next month.
we need content for our next session. So, Andriy, thanks a lot for being with me here again, for preparing our monthly release cycle. Right? We're here, we're discussing, we're commenting on the new features. Thanks a lot, Andriy. Have a wonderful evening, day, and talk to you next month.
Yeah, see you.
Bye-bye.